Awoo, everybody and everybody, welcome to Cursed Side. I had to fix everything to get this game working. Like, even for some reason, okay, I don't know why this has never happened before. There have been some issues with like the window capture, like the screen capture, like not the game capture, but literally Windows capture. It was just a black screen. I don't know why. I put the volume down to the lowest. It's like 0.01. Same for the SFX. And I had to get into the audio manager and still rank it down to like 25. 25 or 30, what it's currently at. It's that loud. I mean, you can obviously dial it down. Everything with like me, I'm using speakers, but hey, speakers are not gonna help the loudness that you are gonna experience if I don't do it. So I hope you guys enjoy this game. Welcome to Cursed Side. It's a visual novel that I bought many years ago. I don't know how long ago. Really long ago, okay? Alright, so let's hop into this game. I'm gonna do some voices. I have no things, I've got nothing. And yeah, let's start. Journey begins. Started a new game. Growing up poor, I'd always watch with envy whenever kids in my neighborhood would pass on rickshaws. Today, I finally got my chance. I just wish the circumstances were a little different. The rickshaw chattered along the gravel path, giving me a headache. Of course, it had to make things worse with his off-tune humming. This place might be called Melody Way, but that gave him no right to offend the very essence of music. "You're almost there," the driver said without turning to face me. "Eyes on the road," as they said. I admired his professionalism, except he kept lowering his rickshaw. The rickshaw for a breather. Drivers in my hometown could beat the guy in the race with one arm, but that was a thing of the past now. East Harvey was my new home, or prison, more like. Mom and Dad, thank you for selling me to the temple. I love you more than anything in the world. Anything, except for coins it turned out, but they were spending that money for a holiday. As the rickshaw drove along, I passed stallkeeper shouting discount offers for the fruits and veggies. When none of the shopkeeper had his eyes turned, a couple of kids stole some apples from his basket. Such a thing would never happen back in West Harvey. Bells hung all around the houses on Melody Way, jingling under the breeze. This must be why people called East Harvey the city of bells. The bells did sound soothing, at least for now. Give it a week and I would probably want to impale my eardrums with a toothpick. The rickshaw slowed as we approached the building ahead. Its size dwarfed that of any other structure on Melody Way. This must be the East Harvian Temple. East Harvian symbol patterned the window frames as if to banish my western origins. Sawyer put down his rickshaw. "That will be 7 gold coins." Pulled out the purse Mom had given me for the ride. She left me 5 coins. And silver ones, no less. "Love you too, Mom." I ordered the driver's case as showed him the purse. "Should have known better than to trust West Harvians," the driver grumbled. "Kid, I'm taking you to the guards." The driver was right about me being a kid, then he should be an adult and let things pass. Instead, he grabbed my wrist and tried to yank me off the rickshaw. I wiggled my hand to try and break free, but to him, probably felt about as strong as a deer dieting cat. The guards locked me up, but thought my parents would bail me out. I heard executions were legal in East Harvey. The thought made my legs go numb. I met the driver's goodness with one of my own. "King Lock has business with me. If you wanted coins, go talk to him." The driver let go of me, and now it was his turn to dodge my gaze. If he troubled the king over such a trivial matter, the temple might take his head as compensation. The driver snatched away my coins as well as the purse. He pushed me off the rickshaw, mumbled a few curses and drove away. I brushed dust off my pants in an attempt to look cool, but in truth, sweat had stained my palms despite the cold weather. So technically, if any of the guards, if there would be anybody there, this rickshaw driver would be dead immediately. Just saying, I would kill him. Turned to face the road I just passed. Despite of all this being my parents' fault, I still yearned to see them running after me, telling me how sorry they felt. They were, of course, nowhere in sight. I slapped my cheeks to snap out of it. The new life started here, guy. I waded up to the temple door, was almost slipping on a rotten leaf on my way there. 2 guards stood barring the temple's entrance. A 6-foot statue allowed them to fit inside those heavy armor. East Tower symbol on the shoulder blades reminded me they hailed from an unfamiliar culture. I swore the ground shook as one of the guards took a step toward me. The spear in his hand made me tremble. Capes. Guards were flooded in the wind. These guys looked more like villains than heroes to me. Go back someplace else, boy. The guard shooed me off like a fly. Chance to explain myself would have been nice. I lifted my chin as if I didn't show him up. King Locke invited me from West Havia to serve in his temple, I said. Right. A new slave then. Name? Sure, apology accepted. Jerk. Guy. The other guy jumped in. Ah yes, the king told us you were arriving. He's assigned you to help with looking after Mion. Exchange chocolates with colleagues. Sucks to be you, kid. In you go. I waited to see if the guards would escort me. One of them dozed off on his feet. An ability must have picked up during his years of service. The other guard filed his nails with his spear, just as a blacksmith had intended, no doubt. I stomped past him in an attempt to look tough, but I stepped too hard and rolled my ankle. As I limped past the front gate, I feared the guards might close them and squash me into a meat pie. I strode for the garden before doing a full lap around the courtyard. Several dozen doors around. I dared not enter a single one. Checked on some the lit windows in case anyone inside mistook me for a thief. My head swerving back and forth, I soon bumped into the guard and fell onto my backside. The guard, still at the Esser castle wall, tapped his spear against my chin. Picked the wrong place to rob, but I'm feeling generous, so crawled back into a little hole before I changed my mind. I no longer had a home, or hole, whatever insult this scum wanted to hurl my way. It would pierce my throat with his spear and be done with it. Guy, new servant. The guard clicked his tongue but lowered his spear nonetheless. Follow me. At least he had the ever so wonderful heart to offer me guidance. I climbed back onto my feet and trailed him along the corridor, keeping a distance in case he decided my attitude warranted a spanking. The guard led me into a dressing room filled with suits and dresses that might be worth more than a house. A set of crumpled clothes sat on the carpet, looking completely out of place. Smeared with dirt, they could easily pass as towels to wipe the wooden floors. The guard snatched the rags off the carpet and shoved them into my arms. Go get changed and hurry up about it. You're already late. Well, to be fair, I never expected to receive one of those expensive suits. I had a rickshaw driver to thank for my lateness. No point in explaining myself now, though. Shuffled into a change room in the corner and slid the curtain closed. Stripping off my clothes, I checked out these garments the guard had handed me. Stranded East Tarian red top from top to bottom with East Taria symbol stitched behind the shirt. Suddenly, the curtain slid open and the blush Bonsinder girl was sitting outside. Aside from my mother, not once had anyone of the opposite gender seen me in the nude. The girl's clothes matched the ones I carried in my arms, so she too must be a servant. Oversized pants she wanted me to look like about as feminine as a water barrel. Pigtails could have looked cute, but those flies circling over her unwashed hair ruined the look. The girl's gaze lowered towards my pants, or where they would have been if I had a pair on. She let out a sigh and walked out as if I disappointed her somehow. Was I not the victim here? I yanked the curtain back closed, the force ripped the curtain off one of its hinges. Poked my head out to see if the guard had noticed. Good thing he had his head turned, sniffing at the skirt and one of the coat hangers. Quickly slipped on my shirt and pants to avoid another intimate encounter. The shirt sleeves almost reached my fingertips. So I rolled them up and made my wrists look like spring rolls. I had mocked that girl's oversized pants earlier. Well, now I must be real because they looked even bigger on me. I looked as if I had balloons cramped inside my pants. A pair of shoes dropped in from under the curtains. Guess the guard had forgotten about them earlier. Shoes had belts tied on the front to couple each of my straps with a jingle. Put on my shoes, and with a single step I took the exit to the dressing room. The left one came off, causing under my breath to thrust my foot back into the shoe before trying to walk again. This time I dragged my shoes along the carpet to stop them from sliding off. The heels still kept popping out, but it would have to do. I returned to the guard who whirled away the skirt he had been sniffing. He glared at me as if it was my fault he failed to keep his fetishes behind closed doors. The guards whirled around and stormed out of the dressing room. I assumed I was meant to follow him, but I did just that. The guard muttered complaints all the way to the end of the corridor. I have to slow down the pace. Holy shit, I'm getting dizzy. I don't know what's going on here. I stood before a set of doors embroidered in gold. The East Taria symbol sat in the middle, glittering under the sunlight. Whoever resided behind these doors must be mighty important, but I ruled out any chance of this being my bathroom. The guard pointed at the doors. This is Mion's room. Get in there and introduce yourself. Before I could ask any questions, the guard trotted off with a shudder. This Mion character scared every grown scared even a grown man, and now I must be stepping alone. Now I must step in alone. Okay, I just know where the B came from. Remind me to never send mom or dad any postcards. I looked down at my Easter Tarian garbs. Snuck out of the temple now. I could fit in the crowd, but with no way of earning a coin. I would be forced to steal food like those children I saw earlier. I reached for the doors with my trembling hands. As I was about to knock, I heard muffled yells coming from the other end. Something or someone banged against the doors from inside, making me dart back. Was Mion inside that room right now? I foresaw meeting an 8-foot mammoth that dined on savage limbs as a pastime. The whispering farewell to my arms and legs. I slid the doors open. 3 bodies rolled out and crashed into my shins, making me stumble. The bodies entangled just enough for me to see a middle-aged woman with 2 guards wrestling to keep her under control. Upon spotting a knife in the woman's hand, I crawled away until my back hit the wall. The woman struggled to break free from the guard's grip. "Give me back my boy, you monster!" I followed the woman's eyes to see who she was addressing. The girl sat on her knees in the middle of the room. She had both hands resting on her lap, as if unaware of the chaos unfolding before her. The had she walking with head with a veil, but she should still be able to see what was going on. The girl sat on a carpet with an East Taria symbol that almost covered the entire room, considering the doors outside looked so fancy. The room was much smaller than I'd anticipated. In the far end was a veranda with railings that reminded me of prison bars. Cabinets filled the walls on either side of the room. The circular handles resembled eyes spying in from another dimension. The guards lifted the knife, wheeling woman onto her feet. Mion is East Taria's thrasher. By the king's orders, you're under arrest. The woman fashed and screamed as the guards hauled her away. So this girl must be Mion. Judging from her height, she must be no older than 10, around my age, in other words. Why should I be scared of some kid? I had no idea if Mion was looking at me thanks to the veil covering her face. Dashed toward the room, smoke came out of nowhere to sting my eyes. I gazed down and spotted incense burning in front of Mion's knees. Clearing the smoke off my face, I stepped through the doors. The bells on Mion's head shaded blank as she looked up. She also had this large belt tied around her neck, like a collar or pet. Mion tilted her head, perhaps startled by my unfamiliar face. The guard did order me to introduce myself, so I might as well. The name's Guy. Mion slumped onto the floor. Did she finally fall unconscious from the shock earlier? Talk about delayed reaction. I worried for Mion's well-being, but more important, I feared for mine. The guards thought I had harmed him anyway. Well, I had a good one. Mion opened her mouth and spoke for me for the first time. Blankets. Third cabinet. Blankets. Third cabinet to the left. Oh. But my introduction sucked so much that she would rather go to sleep. Shaking my head, I walked up to the third cabinet on the left wall. I pulled the door open and indeed found a blanket tucked inside. Even the blanket had gold patterns running along its edges. What a spoiled brat. Flicking off a worm crawling on top, I pulled out the blanket and threw it over Mion, covering her from head to toe. Cannot breathe, came a muffled voice. Yeah. I lowered the blanket down to her neck. Her breathing seemed steady, but with that well on, I had no way of knowing if she had fallen asleep. What? Why? Why? Just why? But alright. Hey, Mion. I whispered as the test, but received no response. Stupid, fat, ugly Mion. Still nothing. She sure fell asleep fast, considering someone tried to stab her only moments ago. I exited the room. Mion's voice came trailing after me. Never speak to me that way again. Oh crap, so she... Obviously, you fucking idiot. Of course she heard that shit. I have never heard something more stupid ever. I've been for around over 30 years. And still breathing. I stepped out and shut the doors behind me. The knife-wielding lady from earlier disappeared from view, replaced by a trio of servants sweeping the corridor. All three of them swung their brooms and sinks if they had no consciousness of their own. After I introduced myself to the servants, they shared with me the daily jobs of being a slave. Testing food for poison, battling venomous spiders, you name it. Watch out, world, for my future shone as brightly as the sun on a stormy night. Loved Mion for the first time. Born of the cursed sight. The treasure of a nation. I guess that's her. Yeah. Oh, it's not her. Damn, it doesn't really happen often that you have like cutscenes or like those in visual novels. You like a actual cinematic in one of those games is so rare. Like that this actually just happened. This like one of the rarest occasions in any visual novel. Just letting you guys know this. Anyway, back to the story at hand. Night came. The servant escorted me into a storage room crammed with sleeping servants, as well as crawling bugs. Stacked against the walls were boxes that piled up to the ceiling. I prayed they were empty. Otherwise, if these boxes collapsed, the temple guards would be having servant pancakes for breakfast. This place reeked of dust as well as sweat, but half of these servants never even bothered to shower before hitting the sack. What a stupid funny question. That doesn't look like there's any bats, but sure. So, which bat is mine? I asked the servant who let me here. Any of them. Yeah, should have known. Badger near me appeared to be unused, but just as I reached for it, another servant swooped in and snatched it from my hands. What? Did you write your name on it? I asked, gritting my teeth to refrain from punching him. With a scowl, the servant pointed at a red patch on the bed sheet. Did this guy pee on it as a marking? Okay, my bad then. Badge heads were so thin they might as well not be there at all anyway. But everybody had one, so I felt uneasy being the odd one out. Spotted another unused badge in the corner this time. I dove for this, and should nobody would beat me to my prize, maybe I should pee or spit on it as well just to be safe. I rolled into the bed sheet, and before I could even close my eyes, a pair of mosquitoes buzzed around my ears, shaking my head. I rolled to one side and covered my ear with the bed sheet. It muffled the buzzing somewhat, I supposed. Shutting my eyes, fatigue took over, and I collapsed into sleep, which meant the mosquitoes caught themselves a real feast. Approaching footsteps caused the wooden floor to creak. A hand gripped my shoulder and nudged me awake. I opened my eyes and found a servant with his face far too close to mine for my liking. Hey! Go sweep the king's throne room, he said. Cool, good morning to you too. I checked the schedule last night. I'm supposed to help prepare breakfast. Dad. Well, schedule's just changed. I'll prepare breakfast in your stead. Servant dropped the broom into my hands. Betty just wanted to steer clear of the king and decided to pick on the new guy. Before I could be pushed around easily, well, he might be right, because I got up to do as ordered. Best to avoid trouble until I knew my way around. Speaking of which, where's the throne room anyway? Servant rolled his eyes and pointed toward the set of doors at the end of the hall. By the way, there's a trial going on, so no need to knock. Just do your job and keep out of sight. I bumped shoulders with the servant on my way out of the storage room. A thank you would have been nice, but I would have better luck waiting for this guy to win gold coins. As I stalked toward the throne room, I scratched my swollen arms and neck. Those mosquitoes really showed no mercy last night. Bites in between my fingers made me want to light the storage room on fire. I arrived outside the king's chamber. A pair of doors. He looked bigger than the ones Mion had. Did that mean the king was even weirder than Mion? If so, I might be better off turning into mosquito food back in the storage room. I don't think you fucking idiot has had anything to do with the being weird, but just how important you are has to do with the door sizes, or how important the room is. The doors groaned as I pulled them open, destroying any hope I had of being discreet after taking a deep breath. I sneezed. There you go. I walked in. There he was at the end of the room, the king of East Tavia, sat behind the curtain, stretched from wall to wall, but his silhouette alone made my legs quiver. Stone pillars formed the light evenly on either side, holding the ceiling in place. Paintings of men and women with crowns hung on these pillars. They must be the kings and queens from past generations. The knife-wielding lady from yesterday stood on a red carpet before the king. A couple of guards blocked the path behind her. One of them kicked the back of her knee, forcing her to kneel in front of the king. I spotted bruises on the woman's arms, and her grey locks looked more roughed up than yesterday too. The guards must have abused her before this trial even began. One of the guards glanced towards me as if I had read my thoughts. My heart felt as I carried on with Brew on the floor. Pay me no mind, folks. I just work here. King Locke. Here's the woman who sold it Mion, one of the guards said. Mion. The woman bowed until her foot touched the carpet. The woman bowed until her forehead touched the carpet. Mion's cursed my boy to his death. I ask only for justice. Mion's power is common knowledge among our nation, Locke said. His unknowingly flipped her veil open. He said Mion's power is common knowledge, but I, for one, knew nothing about it. Did the woman's kid die from gazing into Mion's eyes? The mother began to sob. My boy was only 8. Of course he'd be curious. He should have that monster blindfolded or blindfolded altogether. Locke drummed his fingers across his armrest. Foolishness! Cover Mion's eyes and we seal her powers as well. She's more valuable to the nation than all of you ants put together. Even the guards traded frowns upon hearing those words. Gods had been treating me like a sewage rat. Now the king just cast him into my category. Welcome to the sewers, folks. Don't be like the smell. Send this woman to the guillotine, the king said. She shall serve as an example to our nation. With brow still arched, the guards lifted the woman by her armpits to dragged her away. I thought she would beg for mercy, but all she did was smile. There's no need to feel alone, sweetie. Mommy's coming to you soon. I left the room. I squeezed the broom's handle to stop my hands from shaking. East Taria meant business when it came to the thrasher. Yesterday, threw a blanket over Mion's face and called her names. She had reported it. Might have been killed. Dark. I might have developed a case of Mion phobia from now on. I must keep a distance from him at all times. Maybe should get a fishing rod to hand her things from afar. His Valdemar is there. Faces from parents to face in my mind. I wiped the sleeve across my eyelids. No way would I miss those two that sold me here. I did, however, worry for my baby sister. She played no part in any of this. I wondered what my parents would tell her when she grew up. They might say I died in an accident, simply claim I never existed. The thought made me tear up again, clench my fist to rinse away my sadness with anger. My mind seemed to be all over the place this morning. I blamed it on my lack of sleep. Maybe I should go hide in the change room and sneak in a quick nap. I heard bells ringing in the main hall. A series of jingles strung together to produce a soothing melody. Curiosity won me over, and I headed for the hall to take a peek. It's Mion. Well, almost. A woman was dancing alone on the stage. She had dozens of bells tied around her arms, and as she twirled, the bells produced music that echoed across the room. My parents had once told me about these performers, the Bellstresses, I believe they were called. East Taria's emblem occupied the back wall, partially obscured by a pair of red pillars, while the plants from the circle around the stage excluded the fragrance that enveloped the hall. Several other servants slacked off from their duties to watch the performance, but most of them paid the Bellstress no attention. I guess she must be a regular here. A group of 10 people watched this performance from the front row. The man wore suits ironed many times over, while the woman donned earrings almost as big as their heads. It must be the Bellstress' real audience. Once the Bellstress finished her act, she bowed to the applauding crowd. The guard then walked in to greet the guests. It was all smiles as she escorted them off to another area of the temple. These rich folks probably gave the guard tips on the way out. Think of no other explanation for his friendliness. Heck, if I too had coins to spare, I could make the guards play fetch, lick my shoes and call me Master Guy. The Bellstress stepped down from the stage. I had footsteps running toward her, even without turning to look. The ringing bells told me it was Mia. She went pretty fast for someone who I suppose too lazy to take out her own blanket. Mion dove into the Bellstress's arms, almost pulling her over. Sasa, Sasa! Having heard about Mion's cursed sight, I would scream if she clung that close to me. Yet this Sasa lady knew nothing about the curse, and she was feeling real lucky. Mion, smile when you say hi, remember? Sasa reached under Mion's veil to pinch her cheeks and curled them into a smile. Can I come tonight? Mion slurred. Sasa let go of her cheeks so she could speak properly. Can you come tonight, please? Sasa patted Mion's head. Just for a bit, okay? Mion nodded frantically, making the bells in her head chime in protest. After giving Sasa a hug, Mion retreated back toward her room. Sasa spun to leave. Our eyes met for a moment. Shimmering stage lights made her hair and skin glisten. Sasa beamed at me, and my cheeks flushed as I averted my gaze. Girls really annoyed me sometimes, to be honest. Aww, you've got your first crush, you little idiot. Well, time to go clean Mion's room. Keep it cool, guy. Avoid eye contact and live to slave another day. Alright then. Time to pull these doors open. Mion Mion opened her mouth the second I entered her room. Earlier chat with Sasa must have put her in a talkative mood. The oranges. One smaller than the others, Mion said. 2 apples, 4 pears, cold water, 15 incense sticks, 2 half burnt. I gave her a blank stare and returned. Go on, Mion said. Commanding tones scared me into stumbling out of the room. She had no reason to throw such a random list at my face, unless it was to toy with me. She would instead return with 3 pieces of annual turds, one from yours sincerely, a bottle of piss, and 3 jars of roaches. The servant walked by the corridor and asked him just what kind of drugs Mion had been taking. Foods and stuff? Those are for rituals, the servant said. He shrugged at my confused face. You must be new here, I'm guessing. Mion regularly performs spells that can change the future. Mion truly possessed such a power. That would explain why Locke treasured her so much. Whatever. Some fruits, water, and a bunch of incense. Got it. The servant leaned in as if it frightened Mion might hear from inside the room. Mion's real fussy about the numbers. I should ask her again and listen more closely. That meant I needed to speak with Mion one more time, just great. When I was back in the Mion's room, I'd asked her to repeat the list, expected she lectured me about my lack of attention. To picking my self-esteem off the carpet, I had out to collect what Mion had asked me for. I then returned to place the fruit basket, water bowl, and incense tray in front of her. There, you're welcome. Fruits and incense are placed the wrong way around. These are the basics. That Mion had the cursed sight? Maybe I should show her my cursed mouth. A torrent of insults threatened to spew out and barely managed to swallow them back in. Oh, Mistress Mion, please forgive this humble servant for not possessing such common knowledge. Swap the fruits and incense around because Mion sure showed the intention of moving them herself. Mion leaned towards the bowl and whispered a chant. The water began to swirl inside the bowl. Fuck. W is so weird, okay? The word bowl. It almost looks like bow, and then bowl. And I'm just like bowl instead of bowl. Like, what the hell? Those fruits I had prepared also bounced and rolled inside the basket. Eventually, the entire floor started to shake, forcing me to lean against the wall for support. Maybe I should run from the room, but if this ritual could put my life at risk, Mion would have warned me about it. Oh wait. Mion cared about me as much as someone might worry about a pillow. Silly me. A minute later, Mion ceased the chant and the fruits finally settled. The floor had also stopped shaking, but my knees continued to quake out of fear. "3 days of rain starting from tonight. 3 days of rain starting from tonight," Mion said. "That should help the farmers with the crops." I guess she was predicting the result of a ritual. Mion slipped a hand under the veil. I should get the mouse out of here. Under the veil to massage her temple. Her lips looked as pale as her sweat-stained cheeks. Pointed at a bowl of water seen before her. Maybe you should take a sip. Make her feel better. Mion rubbed the temple harder as if my words had worsened her headache. "This sacred water belongs to the goddesses. Learn some respect." Actually, I filled that bowl from a tap in the kitchen. Fine. The Mion had powers, but that gave her no right to mock me. Next time I should scoop up some toilet water for Mion and the goddesses. Just as I considered arguing back, someone knocked on the door. "That must be Sasa." Mion leaped to her feet, spilling the bowl of water. Guess those goddesses she spoke of would have to lick the sacred water off the carpet now. Mion yanked the doors open, and on the other side stood Sasa. "The lady should act more gentle," Sasa chuckled, patting Mion's head. Mion pulled Sasa in the room once again. Sasa and I crossed gazes. "No need to worry about him. He's new here," Mion said. "Sure. Just treat me Just treat the new guy like one of those lanterns hanging along the veranda. Someone said no feelings or anything, right? Sasa grinned. Look at you, Mion. It's a pretty good face. My face heated up like one of those lanterns hanging along the veranda. Like I said, girls really. Girls. Mion puffed her cheek. He's so stupid, silly foe. Just now he asked me to drink the sacred water. Sasa was the first person to smile at me in this temple. I wanted nothing more than to give her a good impression. Thank you, my Mion. Bless you for crushing my one and only dream. Sasa tapped a finger over her lip. Oh my, the water is drinking the water is forbidden? I had no idea either. How foolish of me. Mion waved her hands nervously. That's no foolish, I guess. I mean, understandable, I think. As I giggled at the sight of Mion flustering, Sasa gave me a wink. This lady and I would get along just fine. Sasa lowered onto her knees and Mion climbed onto her lap before resuming a ramble. Saw a roach in my room this morning. It was orange, I swear. Not catching it so I can show you, but it flew out of the window. Was it Sasa just saying this? No, it was her saying it, okay. Sasa pulled up a comb from the pocket and using it to straighten me on pigtails. Oh, I shouldn't be running around picking up bugs. Did you catch them when you were little? Mion asked. Well, yes I did. Oh, Mion continued. And I heard King Lark sing in the toilet yesterday. It's really funny. Sasa nodded and gave occasional replies as Mion continued to flap her gums. Mion let out a few yawns while she talked. She put her hand over her mouth to hold them back, but each yawn came out louder than the last. So much. I already lose my voice and it's been 40 minutes. Come on. Sasa massaged Mion's shoulders. The king told me to perform a ritual today. Better get some sleep. Mion glimpsed off Sasa's lap and shook her head. I must admit her pouting face made my heart stir. Just a little, mind you. Sasa rose and put her hands onto her hips. Girl needs a beauty sleep. She shot me a glance. So you make the boys fall for you. Who needs boys? Mion clung onto Sasa's arm. I'm going to marry you, Sasa. Sasa rubbed her forehead against Mion's ear. Stop being silly and go to sleep. I fell for your cute act last time. It's not happening again. Mion let out a whining noise that made me want to hug her. Eventually she landed and gave a nod. I took it as the signal for me to pull out her blanket from the closet. Of course. She scrunched her lips as for me trying to help. Sasa tucked Mion into bed and held her hand until she fell asleep, which only took about a minute. Those rituals must really take a lot out of her. With Mion asleep, I puffed my chest out to try to look more manly. Let me escort you to the temple gates. I hated my voice cracking as one of those words came out. Oh my, what a gentleman! Sasa pinched me on the cheek. Fingers felt so slender and warm. I wondered if she would let me sit on her lap too. What? What are you thinking about, boy? I guided Sasa through the corridors. The silence gnawed at me, and I tried to strike up a conversation. You're a master conversationalist. You're great. Master of conversation, I can tell already. You know about Mion's eyes? I heard a curse or something. Not sure if it's real or not, though. Dear voice, please stop cracking for just one sentence. It's real, Sasa said. Anyone who gazes in their eyes will die on the same week. Their parents were the first victims. I was hoping Sasa would laugh at me for believing such a myth, but now I regretted asking it all. Boy, I sure knew how to charm ladies with my choice of topics. Exactly. You're master of those, apparently. Should have talked about how those garden flowers were no match for her beauty. Now you think about that? First of all, now you think about it. Second of all, same for like I think of the good topics and the stuff after the conversation happened, like after you kind of just feel like you talked about the wrong things and just left a bad impression, and you think about all the things you could have said, wanted to say it, and then you have like the perfect conversation in your head. Not even that helped, to be honest. Sasa spun around to face me. Mio never asked for those powers. Please treat her like you would anyone else. I don't know I'll live long if I do that, but sure. I got my hand in both of hers. Her voice sounded softer than usual, and the serious tone forced me to nod. Sasa looped her arms around me. Her aroma and warmth made my head swirl. Mian wanted to marry Sasa. She would have to fight me first. Don't I ask, guy? Sasa said. The first person to smile at me in East Aria, and now the first to address me by my name too. It's 10 more years until I become an adult. Please, Sasa, lock yourself in a time capsule and wait for me. It's snowing. Sasa let go of me, and as we resumed walking, she downed a smile that shone the lanterns hanging overhead. If I had known it would snow. If I had known it would snow, I'd have worn more clothes. Ooh. And Sasa said those words as I went up and down at the glove, and she lowered her eyes at me. Did you mind just coming together? What? No. I peered out of the snow to hide my red face from Sasa. Considering the cold weather here, I should have known it would snow once in a while. Whenever it snowed back home, I used to build snowmen and stick carrots on top of for the nose. But dare to steal a carrot here, the guards might cut off my finger and use that for the snowman's nose instead. The gates, I said. Good night, Miss Sasa. Sasa slapped me across the back. I did miss stuff out, but good night, guy. Spend the day with Sasa the Bellstress. Alright, so far it's going good. No choices made so far yet. Should I continue or end this video here? I mean, how many achievements do we have? Like 9. Yeah, this game has 9 achievements. Screw it. Sasa dropped by again a week later, and I just happened to be cleaning Mion's room at the time. Secretly pumped my fist, feeling lucky than someone finding a bag of gold in the urinal. Why in the urinal? Why? What? Why? Mion rested her head on Sasa's lap, smiling as Sasa waved the bells on her wrist to produce a melody. I would consider bearing the cursed side for a day if it meant I could swap places with Mion. For now, I pretended to wash this wall for the 15th time in the past hour. Kept scrubbing the wall might turn into glass. I wanted to spit at the wall just so I would have an excuse to wipe it again and stay in Sasa's presence. Oh no. Oh. What the fuck, dude? Look, when I got you, by the way. Sasa pulled out the bell from the bag sitting beside her. The jewelry adorning this bell glittered in the lantern's glow. Mion rose to her knees and accepted the bell. After giving Sasa a hug, she waved the bell and listened to it jingle. Sasa turned to me with a smug face. Dad, are you in a girl's heart? My pulse raced every time Sasa spoke to me. I rambled off a response to hide my nervousness. Right, full bell. Sasa and Mion shook their heads as if to say boys would never understand. Mion then said to me, "You were supposed to be washing the dishes half an hour ago." Dear Mion, Thank you for exposing me and making my face redder than those apples I always collected for you. Ready to try and keep Sasa to yourself. Do they sell these spells in town? Ian asked Sasa. Yes, and all other kinds of things. You check it out sometime, Sasa said. Ian lowered her head. King Locke would never allow it. I knew I'd never seen Mion leave the temple. Even I was allowed for shopping once a week. Let's sneak out tonight, Sasa said. Mion squeezed her dress. You'll get in trouble if we get caught. Just for half an hour, Sasa winked. If the consequences, you'll never get anything done. Look out for the guards. Oh shit. Wrong voice, okay. I can look out for guards or something. As soon as those words left my mouth, I regretted them, thrown them by Sasa, but not if I had to sign my will in the process. That's sweet, guy, but I refuse to get you in trouble. Just leave it to me. Oh, okay. I knew not what else to say. Sasa's words reminded me that I was a mere slave, as if I had the right to make any calls. Hey, to go on in the blinds with me? Sasa asked, making my heart thump. Oh, I could see it now. She and I would reach for the water spray at the same time, causing our fingers to touch. In time, our love would blossom just like the flowers we watered. Sasa is asking me, Mion said. Oh. With her lips curled like a slice of watermelon, Mion grabbed Sasa's hand and dragged her out of the room. I guess Sasa was referring to those plants in the main hall. Should have known she was the one watering them. No way could have been some guard turning to himself as he sprinkled the petals with his way. Ah. The image made me want to throw up. But oh, Sasa. Never before had I met a maiden with such pure heart. Let me dream of some poems about her while I went to wash the dishes. That night, a fellow servant bullied me into doing his groceries. I dashed across Melody Way, bumping into more villagers than I could count. One of them threatened to hit me, but I claimed to be the king's favorite servant and he left me be. None of that mattered now. I needed to know how Sasa and Mion's mission turned out. Neither of them had appeared in Melody Way. I took that as a bad sign and prayed that I'd simply failed to spot them among the crowd. Still, I at least should have been able to hear the ringing bells as I walked by, and now I could only hear the Twenka in the corner yabbering about the premonition of Eastern Ventaria going to war. As I bought some pears and checked off the last item on my shopping list, the grocery lady said I needed a shower. All this running did leave me drenched in sweat, but whatever. I went back to the temple, only taking short breaks when my lungs threatened to explode. Back in the temple at last, after sparing a moment to catch my breath, I dumped off my groceries and toilet straight from Mion's room. As I was about to knock on the door, I heard voices come from the inside. This is why I was against it. The doors muffled Mion's words, but I could still hear the erratic breathing. What's going to happen? What's going to happen to you? Yeah, I'm really losing my voice now. Should have brought something to drink, but I couldn't. I'm fucking poisoned here. I've known King Locke for many years. It will be okay, Sasa said as I hit Mion sniffles. I felt as someone was pinching my heart with tweezers. Cards must have caught Mion and Sasa in their act then. I should have helped even if it meant displeasing Sasa. Instead I obsessed over how I could impress her by obeying her every word. Well played, guy. I reached for the doors, but guilt caused me to pull back. Mion would hate to have seen her cry anyway. The memory of Locke passing on a death sentence had given me several nightmares of myself on a guillotine. Now Sasa must answer to the king. The possibilities almost made me forget how to breathe. Switch with me, I said to the servant who had been assigned to broom the king's chamber. The servant mumbled something about following the rules. I dug my nails into her shoulders and leaned close enough to touch her nose. Sansa's in there with King Locke right now. If anything happens to her on your watch, I swear, I don't know what I'll do. Okay, let's walk then. The servant's eyes started to water, only then did I realize I'd been shaking her. Once I let go, she handed me her broom and shuffled off. Damn it. I had better go and apologize to her later. Sleepless guy had always been to prompt before even his own liking. Slapping my cheeks to wake myself up, I headed into the throne room. Thus I sat on her knees before Locke, who was always her mind hidden behind his curtains. Perhaps this separation was what allowed him to issue those death sentences so heartlessly, or maybe he just had no heart at all. I insisted on taking me on side, the blame lies solely with me, Sansa said, her head lowered at the undeserving king. Despite her predicament, not once did she stumble on her words. It was the Sansa I knew and loved. You have no need to defend Leon, Locke said. I'd never bring harm to our nation's mightiest tool. Tool, he said. I squeezed my hands against the boom, feeling a several splinters stuck into my flesh. Leon sensed joy whenever Sansa paid a visit, and loneliness after she left. Tool could never comprehend such feelings. Sansa, you two are good of use to me. Our guests are rather fond of your performances, Locke grunted. I'll let things slide this time, but the next blunder shall be a last. Know that you're irreplaceable like the rest. Locke, you made the right choice, I thought, but my shaking knees reminded me of my helplessness. The king ordered for Sansa's beheading, and I tried to interfere. He might force me to pull the guillotine, clever, just for laughs. Bowing at the king, Sansa rose and spun to leave the room. Our eyes met, but she exited without saying a word. Locke's knowledge, Sansa and I had nothing to do with each other. Probably best for things to stay that way. For the first time I stood alone in the chamber with Locke. But he said nothing to me. Still felt my palms swelling up. I swept the carpet as fast as I could, praying Locke would afford me no attention. A king, nothing beat a nap under the morning sun. Why not give it a try rather than wasting your royal saliva talking to the likes of me? With my cleaning done, I managed to escape the chamber unscathed. Sansa stood in the corridor with her back pressed against the wall. She had both hands cupped over her chest, finally betraying a hint of her anxiety. The sight of Sansa flustering made me frown at disappointment. Nothing ever seemed to steal Sansa, and I'd hoped for this image of her to remain untainted. I wanted to punch myself for having such a selfish wish. When Sansa noticed me, she smiled to act tough for my sake. She bent down to scratch my cheek. Red right now in my eyes, she looked as small as a kitten. I imagined she might cry alone in a room later, but I lacked the courage to speak up about it. Tell me and I'm okay, Sansa said, still smiling. And how about you, really? Fine, silly. There's no need to look so pale. Now that you mentioned it, my cheeks did feel cold. An outsider like me ended up being more scared than someone directly involved. This must be the difference between a kid and an adult. You're amazing, I blurted out, immediately blushed. Sansa patted my head. Why would you think that? You always know how to act. You never say the wrong thing. This is the furthest from the truth, Sansa chuckled, but her soft tone told me she was hiding something. Whatever it was, since asking could be like crashing a wagon into a brick wall, we would rather keep our relationship damn free. Sansa no doubt had questions for me as well. Every servant had the dark past to hide, yet Sansa never forced it out of me. Still had so much to learn from her. You're speaking dangerous things, boy. Very dangerous things. Only you could rule this nation, Sasa. If only you could rule this nation, Sasa. Sick of serving a king like that, I said. Sasa tapped a finger over my lips. What's your words when you're in the temple? I nodded and Sasa lowered a finger. People are more complex than you think, guy. Locke wants the kinda heart. I imagined Locke helping elderlies across the street and feeding food to the poor. That seemed about as likely as me and offering me praise for my work. When I first started performing, I played in clubs that paid me with pawns. Some nothing at all, Sasa said. Locke discovered and hired me in the temple. I will be grateful for that. Are you sure we're talking about the same king? And for more than you might think. Heard why and read another person's mind. Sasa bumped her forehead against mine. Let it go, guy. Bring Bree in the kid while you still warm. Sasa extended a hand, curled my fingers around hers. She let me hold her hand all the way up to the temple entrance. Sasa's hand felt cold, even by East Tarian standards. Locke must have drained all the warmth out of her. Squeezed her fingers in hopes of warming her touch. And she beamed at me in return. With Sasa had told me to enjoy childhood. I wished I could transform into an adult tomorrow. Being surrounded by all these grown-ups made me feel about as useful as the shattered lantern by the wall. Well, that's where we're gonna leave it off, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a great one. Bye bye.